Well, hello, glue troopers, and it's 5 o'clock somewhere, although it's after 7 o'clock here, and it's cocktail time. So, got a lot done, got the Skycrane finished, and looking on the shelf, it's okay. I finally managed to beat the styrene into submission. And I did video a few things as I was proceeding. I went ahead and, like I said, I painted not only the rotor tips, but the anti-torque rotor red and white. And I went through the whole procedure. Made a little mistake on that I'm going to talk about, but it still came out looking fine when it was done. You know, you're going to make mistakes. Half the art of model building is fixing those mistakes. I finished that little, what do you call it, dart fart, that thunder fart, something like thunder dart. And it was actually really already done. Pretty simple kit. A nice kit. One of Tester's better efforts. I made it wheels up, and unfortunately, the decals disintegrated. And when I mean disintegrated, I mean like Klingon disruptor disintegrated. Those decals were hit with phaser 2. But so I just went to, and you know, it's a fictitious aircraft. They never made it. So I just went and started scrounging around through the decal, my storage box of decals, and I learned something. I've got a ton of Navy decals, but almost no Air Force decals. I mean, like subdued modern Air Force decals. But I did find some, ironically, from the Stealth Squadron. I think it was the 37th TFW. So there you go. You know, using those. And but I like it. It looks good. I'm running out of places to put it. I put it up on the shelf. Like, God, I can make room for these things. I'm going to have to figure out what to do about this, especially when I get that C-57D done. But anyway, I did actually kind of record as I went today. Makes this a little bit easier. So I'm going to put this video together and then watch it myself, and then I'll have some sort of, probably something I forgot to tell you about. Oh, I got to work on the Arizona. That I might finish that tomorrow, at least what I call initial finish. You know, sometimes you finish a model, you put it on the shelf, but at some point you're going to come back to it and do a few things, but it's technically done. That's initial finish. So anyway, without further ado, let's look at what went on today. Okay, guys, I measured and marked off all 4 of the anti-torque rotor tips. And what I'm doing here, this is just for me because I've learned how hard it can be to get this tape to unseal, is cut off my little piece of the straight edge. And I, like rolling your own cigarette or something, I curl the tips and tape them against each other before I put it on, and that leaves me these little handles where the tape doesn't stick. That makes it much easier to peel off when the time comes. And coming up on number 4 here. One thing I would advise when you're doing this, of course, is don't get stingy on the tape. The nice thing about this larger tape is it covers the entire anti-torque rotor, so I don't have to worry about overspray. Now we have this ready for spray. What we're going to do is do the 4 tips, front and back, in white. These tips are red with a white center stripe, and so we'll do the white, let that harden, then we will use one tiny little piece of tape to put in the center, then hit it with the red, and then when that's done, of course, we peel the tape off and we should have it. This is 1/72 scale, so you're dealing with some tiny tolerances. The thing we have to be careful of is I'm going to hit this with some clear coat to make sure that I've sealed up around the tape. I'm going to burnish it down really well, because what we don't want to have happen is when we're done, we peel all the tape off and there's a tiny bit of white that's seeped under the tape there. Now that can easily be cleaned up with a black marker or black flat paint, but it's easier if it's just avoided. Next will be the blade tips, and we're going to use the same technique of measuring, then marking. Of course, one of the nice things about these being the way they are is you can just lay it down like this and go across it at one time, which is fine. But the point is that you want to measure them, because it really hurts your mojo when you're done with the helicopter and some of the yellow tips are bigger than others. But this will be using the airbrush, and in fact, you know what, I think I'm probably going to airbrush all of these. And then of course we blade the coat's on very thin with low pressure to prevent seepage under the tape. And we'll see how it works when I'm done. Okay, it's marked and taped, and now I'll do the other side. And of course I have the folded tips so that I'll be able to peel it off more easily when I'm done. Blade tips are ready for the paint booth. I got to use an old glove to cover up the rest of it. And I've got the anti-torque rotor ready to go also. So off to the paint machine. Off to the paintanarium. All right, not bad at all. Now just a little dull coat. Okay, nobody tell me what that looks like, I know, but I had not made enough of a white area I'd underestimated the size. So when I took the tape off, or when I started putting the tape on, I had to readjust the other tape. So some of the red tip on the outer tips is on over white paint, and the midsection or the intersection of the red is on over black paint. So there may be a tonal difference, but my guess is once we peel the tape off, given that it's 1/72 scale, it's going to be so small, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Plus I'll probably put a little aluminum or silver or something on the leading edge to show wear and tear, which you see on a lot of tail rotor blades, anti-torque rotors. All right, I'm at a good stopping point now, and it's time for me. It's almost lunchtime, so now would be a good time for me to take a break and just step away from everything. I will probably get to work on the Arizona next. See if I can finish that off, and I'm going to give that a few hours to harden before I peel the tape. Really can't go much. Maybe after lunch I might come in and go ahead and remount the engines and the last few parts onto the Skycrane. Then I can, it's amazing, I didn't realize it, but the blades actually flex up like it's flying, not down, it's inverted. I may have talked about this. If not, let me just go ahead and talk about it now. The instructions could definitely use some improvement. When I first put it together, I thought the blades sagged. I looked at the first picture in the instruction sheet where they go together, and everything looked fine. And then I looked at the second picture and I saw, okay, that disc goes on top. So I thought the disc went here like this, and I got everything in place, set up a little stand so they would droop properly and everything looked right. But once I got it all sitting there and hardening, and thank God there was a little bit of paint on there that caused the glue to dry slowly. Sounds like something just wasn't right. My kit model spidey sense went off, and I started rereading the instructions like, holy crap, that disc goes on top. I think the thing that tipped me off was two little notches that didn't seem to have any place to go. And it's when I saw this picture that I realized, oh crap, the blades are in the right place, the disc is in the wrong place. Fortunately, like I say, I hadn't really hardened. The glue was still soft enough I was able to pop it off, but had to clean up the blades and start over again. So the blades will be flexed up like it's trying to take off, which, you can bend them or heat them or whatever you want to do. But I thought they sag naturally like a lot of kits do. But they don't, which is great if you want to make a diorama, because you use a piece of hard wire as a stand and to replace the little bit of hoist cable, and then you can have it sit on that, up in the air, and it looks like the blades are lifting. But I'll just propose that it's getting ready for takeoff. So that's interesting. Personally, I know it looks better parked with the blades down, because that's the way helicopter blades sag. But when they're up, I think it's a little more dynamic. It looks like, hey, he's getting ready to lift off. And when I'm done with this, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decal the dark fart today. And that's the only thing left on that. And then clear coat it and peel the canopy off, and that's done. All right, talk to you later. All right, not bad, not disappointed. Symmetrical. There are a couple of little spots that aren't perfect, but I'm not going to worry about it. It looks good enough. I just put a little aluminum on the center hub. Probably could have put a little more white on there, but then again, this has that worn look I was talking about. So I'll put some aluminum on there and a touch on the leading edge, and that'll just about do the tail rotor. I like that. A little uneven in spots, but this was kind of a quick job. I mean, practice makes perfect. I'll have to do a few more of them. I have more helicopters. All right, putting the main rotor on was a little more of a trick than I expected. Two of the blades popped off. I had to reinsert them. So make sure they're all orientated the correct way. And according to the book, they are. All right, that's down. Now tail rotor decals and a couple of details, and it's done.